achieved.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into Studio Day, Heffrey Day, quarantine on a Jamal Adams day. So I want to do a couple of different things about this. Number one, I want to talk about just the idea itself of giving up premium picks for a player. Good idea, bad idea. Is this a missed opportunity for the Cowboys, and on and on and on. So here's where I want to start with the Jamal Adams trade. Obviously, he's going to the Seattle Seahawks for a player, 2 first-round picks, and a third-round pick, and they'll get back a 4th-round pick, okay? So Jamal Adams is a Seahawk. This will be the final Jamal Adams video, I think. This will be it, okay? So there's a lot that goes into this, and here's where I want to start. One, I think the Cowboys were right to leave this alone, but I'll get into that in a minute. I want to start with this. Because I say it over and over again, if you want the hot takes, probably I'm not going to have them all that often because there's usually a lot more balance in every sports conversation than people pretend. So Seattle's trade for Jamal Adams, is that a good trade? The Bears trade for Khalil Mack, is that a good trade? Who's going to win these trades? So when you take an all-pro, the odds of the other guys that you're going to get with those picks being better than an all-pro are generally pretty low, right? The odds that the Raiders are going to get better than what Khalil Mack is with the picks that they got back, pretty low. The odds that Seattle is going to get better players back, or the odds that the Jets are going to get better players back than what they got for Jamal Adams, pretty low. You're probably not going to replace Jamal Adams. Now, then you have to go also down the road of positional value. Jamal Adams, look, he's better than a box safety. He's an incredible player. He's awesome. I'd love to have him on the Cowboys. But at the cost that he just got moved for, I wouldn't want the Cowboys to do that. Does that make it wrong for the Seahawks to do that? No. The Jets got a great haul for a dude that didn't want to be there. The Seahawks got an amazing player on a team that could really, really use him. So there's a lot of things we have to factor in when we're trying to break down what did the Cowboys miss an opportunity, did the Cowboys not miss an opportunity. One of the ways I want to take it first, and this jumped out at me right away because I knew this off the top of my head. Seattle gave up 2 1s and a 3. Do you guys know their last first-round picks? Because I do. They reached for Jordan Brooks, the linebacker from Texas Tech. Before that, they reached for L.J. Collier, the TCU defensive end. And before that, they took Rashad Penny in the first round, running back. What's Seattle's first-round pick worth? Now, will they think this way? No. The GM's not going to be like, well, guys, I was going to screw up those picks anyway. But if you want to look at it realistically, that's what they've been doing. And I don't know if they've got coaching staff that's meddling in picks or how it all works in Seattle, but John Schneider's last 3 first-round picks, I don't want to judge. Well, I'm not going to judge any of their careers yet. But they've done a really bad job drafting at the end of the first round. Really bad. And their third-round picks. Their last third-round picks have been Damian Lewis this year, the guard out of LSU. Maybe he turns into a solid starter. Cody Barton, linebacker, Utah. Rasheem Green, USC, defensive tackle. If that's my draft history, man, take all my picks if you're going to give me a great player. Another reason why it could make sense for Seattle. Their cap space next year, they have $30 million more in cap space than the Cowboys do. And that's without Dak even being on the books for the Cowboys for a penny. So really, they got $70 million more free to make Jamal Adams the highest paid safety in the league. This works for Seattle. Draft history is atrocious. You have the money under your salary cap. Let's compare and contrast real quick. Seattle, after this season in 2021, and obviously we don't know what the cap's going to be for sure, but I'm not buying the idea that it's going to go down. The owners won't allow that. They're locked into way too many contracts. They're going to spread this hit out. I don't think it'll go down. It may stay the same, but they'll spread out their punishment here for losing some money this year, and I don't think the cap will go down next year. So Seattle next year, Russ is on the books at $32 million. Bobby Wagner, 17. Dwayne Brown, 13. Tyler Lockett, 12. Jaron Reed, 13. and then Jamal Adams for just under $10 million. Already penciling him in for $10 million on their books next year. They still are sitting there with, in theory, $60 million in cap space, 61. Cowboys in 2021. And remember, this is without Dak even counting because he's tagged right now. So in 2021, he's on the books for $0. In theory, he's a free agent, right? They still have, compared to Seattle having 5 guys making over $10 million and only one making over 17.1. The Cowboys Tank 22, Zach Martin 15, Tyron 12, Amari Cooper 22, Zeke 13.7, Jalen Smith 9.8, Lyle Collins over 12. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 without even counting Dak. So the cap situations are different too. Trading for a great player, I wouldn't kill the Cowboys if they had traded for a great player. But I also believe in what the Cowboys do with their first-round picks. They got Amari Cooper for 1 first-round pick. And this, you know what? You guys may not like this. Tell me if you disagree with this. I'll take Amari Cooper over Jamal Adams all day, every day on a football team. I'll take a number 1 wide receiver over I don't want to say the word box safety because I don't want to pretend that Jamal Adams can't cover, but his role is mostly downhill and forward. I will take Amari Cooper as a number 1 wide receiver over Jamal Adams every day of the week. So give up 2 first-rounders and a third-rounder and a player and get back a 4 for Jamal Adams, or would you rather have made the Amari Cooper trade? And I thought the Amari Cooper trade was pricey when they made it, but he helped him turn the season around because he's a number 1 wide receiver. So the Cowboys' history of first-round picks, would you give up today CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper, because that was your first-round pick before that, and Neville Gallimore? Of course not. That's the opportunity cost, and that's without even factoring in the contract. To give up a whole bunch for the right to give a dude a monster contract is scary, and they already did it with Amari Cooper. And I think that one will work out for him. But do you want to do that again with a safety for a team that already has a bunch of highly paid dudes on the books? No. If I am running the Cowboys, which they'd probably be wise to let me do that if we're being honest, I would rather just say, all right, boys, let's make safety a priority. This next coming off season, we're going to prioritize safety. And I think it's possible that they do. Let's find one. Don't be afraid to use a first-round pick on a safety or a second-round pick. What really, really is bothering me right this second is that if they just listened, and I go really easy on Will McClay and the scouting staff because I respect what they do, and I think they're really, really, really good at it. I think Will McClay, Chris Hall, the guys who are in charge of the scouting with the Cowboys, if they were making the picks, there's not a scout in that building that thought Taco was a better player than TJ Watt. That came down to your defensive line coach, defensive coordinator being like, well, he hadn't really put his hand on the ground, not really a scheme fit. And there's no scouts. There's no way there was a scout that thought that Tristan Hill was a better prospect than Taylor Rapp, who's a good safety with the Rams already, or Juan Thornhill, who's a good player with the Chiefs already. With a new coaching staff in place, hopefully we're past the point of those dudes getting to make picks. Let the scouts do their jobs. And we wouldn't even have to talk about Jamal Adams because you would be talking about either Taylor Rapp or Juan Thornhill already being on this team, and you'd be getting really good production out of a safety spot for peanuts, as opposed to talking about trading 2 first-round picks and a third and a starter for 1 dude. This team's already got a bunch of highly paid dudes. If you could have flipped them for 1 first-round pick like they did Amari Cooper, I'd be like, okay. And if they'd given up more than that, again, I go back to my original point of if you're trading for an all-pro, it's okay. It's usually okay. You're not usually going to lose. But do you want to give up the Cowboys' last 2 first-round picks, what they got for those, and their last third-round pick for Jamal Adams? You don't. So I believe in the front office to find the labor that is affordable for this team. And I believe what they get out of their next 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick and a starter in the secondary, however you want to frame it, I believe that will be preferable to having Jamal Adams and having him be the highest paid safety in the league. That won't be true of every team. There's going to be teams that don't draft as well. There's going to be teams that do draft well. I look at Seattle's recent history and I say, man, give up whatever you want because y'all are trash at drafting lately. You're doing a terrible job. Russell Wilson is a real-life superhero. That dude's carrying a roster that ain't all that good and a coaching staff that insists on being down by 5 points entering every fourth quarter because they're afraid to let their quarterback get his shine on. That dude is a superhero. So I bet he's super excited to have Jamal Adams. Let that man lead the defense. I'll handle the offense. If we can get the coach, let me throw the ball a little bit more, maybe we go win the Super Bowl. It works for Seattle. Cap-wise and with what they've been doing with draft picks, to me it doesn't work with the Cowboys because I believe in their ability to scout and draft more. I believe contractually they're in a spot where they got to figure out what they're going to do with their quarterback, and they've got less than half of what Seattle has in cap space. If you factor in Dak's next tag, you got $70 million less than Seattle, and they're right up against it already. So that's my Jamal Adams thoughts. Good for him. I'm glad that he managed to talk his way out of New York. And they found a team that would give up enough that made it possible because New York could have just held on to him. They had him for another year, 5th-year option, franchise tag. They could have had him for another 3 years if they wanted to, but they found a team that was willing to pay a pretty penny to get Jamal Adams on the team. So leave in the comments what you want to talk about tomorrow. I love you guys. I appreciate you hanging out. I'm trying to think what we want to do in the comments today other than what you want to talk about tomorrow. What's your favorite liquor? But not everybody's a drinker. What's your favorite hobby? What's your favorite movie from the 90s or the 80s? Top Gun was 1986. Tombstone, I think, was 94. Favorite movie from the 90s in the comments, all right? And what you want to talk about tomorrow. And I'm back. Vacation days are Dunsky, so you'll have to deal with me like every day for the next 5 months on the radio. And I appreciate you if you do check out these videos. Tell your people. YouTube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh. Love to have you. Love to interact with you guys. So leave in the comments what you want to talk about tomorrow, and I will try to take care of you. And have a lovely evening, morning, day, whatever it is, whatever time it might be. I'll catch you tomorrow morning. How about that?